गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं चर्षणीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम्। ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि वचक्षुराततम्। ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Can you repeat Hare Ramakrishna 3 times? Om Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna. Okay. So where are we? We finished that 12. We finished all the 12 houses in BPHS. What we will do is, before we continue BPHS with the next chapters, what we will do for today is we will just do practical examples. So do you guys have any charts that you want to see, that you were having some difficulty with, or want to share with the class? Any interesting charts you saw that you want to share with the class? If you have the data, we can look at them. Any interesting charts? We can see. Do you have the data though?
The data is
no, name is irrelevant, but no. The data, date, time. Okay, please.
No, not about the name, but
to open the file.
To open the file, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Oh. So we'll see a chart of a child who has autism. Another autism example. The data is 2002 January 25, 4:04 p.m. and the place is Boston, Massachusetts. 71 degrees 3 minutes 37 seconds west. 42 degrees 21 minutes 30 seconds north. The time zone is 5 hours west of GMT. And the Lagna, the ascendant is in the 4th degree, approximately at 4 degree Cancer, and moon is at 0 degree 50 minute in Gemini. Okay. So what were your impressions when you discussed this chart? What are the things that you noticed? Moon, the planet of mind, is badly placed. Why? Moon is the Lagna, ascendant lord, and he is in the 12th house.
And he is on the Grasamji.
He is on, yes, he is actually very weak. He is in the 1st degree of a sign. So this is not Gandanta or anything, but still this is a Rajasandhi which is weak. He is basically in Balyavastha. He is in deep infancy. He is not strong. He is the Lagna Lord. Yeah, apart from being the planet of mind, the significator of mind, he is also the Lagna Lord, the Lord of the 1st house, the Lord of ascendant. So he is very important for overall health. And who is he joining? When we say afflicted, who is he joining with? He is joining Jupiter and Rahu. Jupiter and Rahu are with moon. For me, yes, there is Guru Chandala Yoga, there is Chandra Chandala Yoga, etc. But the thing is, Jupiter joining moon, is it good or bad in this case?
In this case, good.
It is mixed, because from Cancer ascendant, Jupiter is the ninth lord of fortune. He is the ninth lord of protection. Ninth house is the house of protection. But he is also the sixth lord of ill health, sickness, diseases, etc. So he owns both the sixth house and ninth house. So he is a mixed planet. He is a neutral planet. He is not greatly malefic. But the thing, moreover, even though his agenda is sixth house, giving disease, he is a good friend of Moon. Moon and Jupiter are good friends. So if you have a friend of yours who want to harm you and also do some good to you, you can talk to him and convince him to actually only do good. So the thing is, had Moon and Jupiter been alone without Rahu, it would have actually not been that bad, even though Jupiter is the sixth lord affecting Lagna lord. Sixth lord Lagna lord combination is always a bad yoga. But the fact that Moon and Jupiter are friends of each other negates it to a large extent. It would have been actually okay. But actually, Jupiter is far away from Moon. Jupiter is at 13 degrees 40 minutes in Gemini. He is basically in the middle of Gemini, whereas Moon is at the very beginning. He is actually around 1 degree of Gemini, 0 degree 49 minutes. And look where Rahu is. Look where Rahu is. He is at 1 degree 10 minutes. So he is actually like, they are approaching each other. Moon is actually going towards Rahu, Rahu is going towards Moon. And they are 20 minutes apart. That is actually very narrow. Yeah, basically look at it like this. I am sitting next to her and you are a friend who can help me. You are sitting far away and she is the one who will influence me. And if she hates me, she will just ruin me. And Rahu does hate Moon. Rahu basically causes eclipse of Moon. Moreover, basically based on nature, inherent nature, Rahu and Moon are enemies and being together is not advised. But here, which house does Rahu own? Rahu owns Aquarius, which is the 8th house. 8th house from Cancer. So he is the 8th lord. And 8th house gives obstacles in life, big diseases, long lasting diseases, etc. So Moon is basically badly hammered by Rahu. And Jupiter's protection is unable to reach him. So in this case, the main weakness is Moon. When we come to remedial measures, if we have to suggest something that may improve the situation of the person, Moon is one planet to look for. Moon should be strengthened, Rahu should be pacified, and Jupiter again should be strengthened. Then there can be some relief from this evil combination. Is there anything else? Pardon me? It will be, because they are so close to each other, they will be together in many divisional charts. Hopefully, let's make sure that there is no planet in Vrichabhaga, or actually 4th house is in Vrichabhaga, but we are not sure. If the time is inaccurate, Lagna degree may be, longitude may be slightly off. So this yes may actually become a no. So let's not give too much importance to it. Let's move on. Did you actually rectify this chart? Is this the given time? So this is the given time, 4 p.m. So it may be off by a few minutes. So we can't be sure that Lagna is exactly at 4 degree Cancer. It may be 6 degrees, it may be 2 degrees. We're not sure.
The small boy who is just 6 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Don't have much significant things other than the boy is still not.
Right. So that's the thing. So we can't really rectify. We don't have any events to go back and say, well, this doesn't make sense, this must be this. So let's just take it easy. The Lagna may be inaccurate in a few divisional charts.
The exact problem is the boy is still not speaking and maybe he speaks 1 or 2 words or he just shows some.
So he is basically 6 years old.
He's 6 years old, he just shows
6 and a half.
some such kind of figures.
Yeah. So basically
We did analyze this chart here.
Did we?
I think
Actually, this doesn't seem familiar to me. I mean, I don't claim to remember everything we discussed, but
we spent about half an hour. It's there all in the.
I see.
Not here, but it's there.
Okay. So
the Gajkesari Yoga doesn't work here.
well, Gajkesari Yoga is afflicted by Rahu. If Moon and Jupiter are together without any affliction, for me,
Even though the distance is.
the thing is, had Rahu's affliction not been there, Moon at 1 degree Gemini, Jupiter at 14 degree Gemini, still the Gajkesari Yoga would have operated, but not given its full results. It would have given its results very moderately, but still it would have been a desirable combination. But the fact is, between them there is Rahu, who hates both of them, and he is so close to Moon that he can just hammer Moon, and he happens to be the 8th lord here. So it's basically really bad. So Rahu is the one who needs to be pacified, and Moon is the one who needs to be strengthened.
And why strengthen Jupiter?
Because he can give protection always.
But he's also the sixth lord, right?
He is the sixth lord, but also he is the ninth lord. Ninth is always the key. Ninth is the house of God. It is the house of religion. It is the house of protection. So if you want to protect somebody, if you want to bring the blessings of gods, blessings of all the previous good karma that a person has done in all the previous lives, bring it to the life of the person so that he can be rescued from the mess he is in. Ninth is the key house. So being the ninth lord, and also he is the dispositor of Yogarka. If you look here, Mars is a Yogarka in this chart. He is in Jupiter's house. He is actually in the ninth house. Any Yogakaraka who owns both a trine and a quadrant, being in the ninth house is very auspicious. So Mars is actually very auspicious in this chart. And being his dispositor and being his friend, he is a dispositor and also he is his friend. So Jupiter is a has great potential, but it's not being harnessed at all. So with some remedial measures, it may actually work a little bit. That's why Jupiter and Moon are the key. Anyway, let's go to the Trimsyamsa, the 30th divisional chart, D30. This is the key chart for seeing all the subconscious forces that are basically driving a person towards whatever behavior that shows up. And here, if you see, the thing that you should look for is the strength of Moon and Mercury. Weakness of Moon and any weakness to Moon and Mercury will cause some mental problems subconsciously. And in all the autism charts we have seen, or autism or any kind of mental problems, any such issues, we have seen that Moon is afflicted either by North or Saturn or Mars or probably a couple of malefics, not just one. It just so happens that in the Trimsyamsa chart D30, Moon is afflicted, and here you can see Moon is afflicted by Rahu and Ketu. He is afflicted by Rahu and Ketu. Both the nodes are afflicting Moon, that too in 12th house. In the 12th house of hidden disease or hospitalization, etc. So this is also indicating problems. Now another thing you should note is what sign they are occupying. If a planet that is afflicted is occupying a benefic sign, like a sign of Jupiter, a sign of Venus, a sign of Mercury, the affliction can be overcome a little easily. The affliction is basically less in magnitude. Whereas, if the planet is occupying a sign of Mars or Saturn or Sun, actually in this chart they won't occupy the sign of Sun. So basically, occupying a sign of Mars or Saturn, which is Aries, Scorpio, Capricorn and Aquarius, then the affliction is tough to overcome. It is basically more pronounced. So in Trimsyamsa, always remember that afflictions in signs of Mars and Saturn are more difficult. They are more troublesome. And here, Moon is in a sign of Mars with Rahu and Ketu. So this is problematic. Now, what dasha is he running?
You mean Mercury?
For me?
Is a sign of Mercury?
No, Mars. Mars. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Aries is a sign. I am talking about Trimsyamsa. In Trimsyamsa, look at the sign occupied by the planets which are afflicted. Okay. Now, let us see what dasha is he running now. What is the dasha we should use for this person? Is the Lagna Lord in the 7th house? No. 7th Lord in Lagna? No. 10th Lord in 10th? No. Lagna in Vargottama? No. It would have been in Vargottama had time been, 1 second, actually let's verify. How many minutes? See, Navamsa Lagna is Leo, but it would have been Cancer had the time been 3 minutes 18 seconds earlier. So if the time given is wrong by 3 minutes 18 seconds backwards, Lagna would be in Vargottam. It will be the same sign in both Rashi and Navamsa. So Shatabdi Dasha will apply. But let's assume for now that the time is accurate, and see, Vimshotri is the Dasha to use, the standard Dasha. So if you look at the Vimshotri Dasha, the Dasha that is running right now is from 2005, basically from the age of 3 years, is Rahu Dasha. Is this a good Dasha for recovery from health problems? Or is this a Dasha for suffering because of health problems? And yeah, Rahu is the 8th Lord. In the Rashi chart of the physical being, and which is the chart that shows the person from the physical point of view. Rahu is the 8th lord of long suffering, obstacles, worries, anxieties, and long diseases, and he is afflicting Lagna lord. So Rahu Dasha does not show promise, unfortunately. This is a really bad Dasha. Probably they would have realized that there are all these problems after Rahu Dasha has started. That's when they realize. Until then they probably ignored, thinking, well, he's just taking a little time. Maybe around the time of Rahu Dasha they got worried and they probably started going to doctors. And 12th house can also show, 8th house and 12th house can also show visiting doctors, even hospitalization, etc. Those are shown by the 12th house. So that is what is being shown. See, Jupiter Dasha will come in 2023. That is a good Dasha. But unfortunately we can't wait till then. So let us see the Antardashas, the sub-periods within this phase, Rahu's period. So till last year, Rahu ran. So that was really the worst time. Rahu will really give all kinds of problems as far as mental growth is concerned, because Rahu is affecting moon in the key charts. But Rahu Jupiter is running right now. So this is the period until 2010 March, because Jupiter is the 9th lord of dharma, religion, God, etc. This is the Antardasha in which some remedies have a chance of working. So if they do some remedies, this is the time. There is actually a chance of getting some relief. For me? Dasha Lord is Rahu. So I am not saying it's all rosy. I am not saying, oh, problem is solved. But I am saying, because at least the Antardasha Lord is Jupiter, whose agenda is to protect this person, to listen to the prayers of this person. He may actually, but the problem is, the Dasha Lord is basically the boss. Antardasha Lord is like somebody working under him, he is like a subordinate. So Rahu will have the final say. But still, Jupiter can fight with him and give his results if he really wants to. So the thing is, it's not going to happen automatically. So if there are some remedies that are performed, then there is a chance that Jupiter will give some relief. So there is a chance of relief in this period. Basically, let me put it this way, I am not saying it's all rosy, but I am more positive in the current period than before November 2007. There is some chance of working. Now, let us look at the D24. The D24 is a chart of education and learning abilities, how a person assimilates, learns, grasps new things, etc. So, in order for a person to actually have learning difficulty, there has to be some problem in this chart. There has to be some problem in this chart. Then only the person can have learning disability, and we can also see how are the next few years. So, how is D24 looking? How is D24 looking? Are there any afflictions here? Yeah, moon is afflicted by Rahu and Ketu in Bhasgasthana. If Lagna is correct. Now let's see if Lagna is correct or not. I mean, let's see how much leeway we have. 1 minute 12 seconds earlier, just 1 minute 12 seconds earlier, the Lagna would have changed to the previous sign.
In that case, they are in 12th house.
They will be in the 12th house. Now, given that this person has autism, would you guess that this Lagna is accurate, or would you guess that the time is off and it's actually Virgo Lagna? With which Lagna can you explain the learning disability better? Okay. They have a yoga in the 10th house?
It is Virgo.
Yeah?
Fourth and fifth lord are
Right. Fourth Lord Jupiter and 9th Lord Venus and 5th Lord Saturn are together in a quadrant. So there is a nice yoga. There is a Dhimanta yoga, etc. Okay. Lagna is Libra, then yeah. Now, how is Lagna Lord? See, to judge any chart, to see whether a chart has potential, the first thing that you should judge is the strength of the lagna. Strength of the lagna and the strength of the lagna lord. And the if Libra is the lagna, lagna lord is strong. He is with Yokarka Saturn and he is with the functional malefic, third and sixth lord Jupiter. Yes. Lagna lord is in the 11th house, and also he is Mercury. He is unafflicted Mercury. He is in a very fruitful sign, Cancer. So and the fifth lord, see, lagna lord is important. He is the basis, foundation for the chart. And then fifth is the house of intelligence of the person, and fourth is the house of learning of the person, right? So if you take Virgo as the lagna, the fourth and fifth lord, everybody is really well placed. But if you take, they will be aspecting the fourth house too. So it does not really make a lot of sense. But let's assume that this time is accurate. Now with this, can you still explain? Can you still explain the learning disability if Libra is the lagna?
Because learning disability is coming because of affliction to the mind.
Right.
If mind is proper, then your learning is going to be proper. So moon afflicted with Rahu Ketu, possibly this makes a better thing. Because if you have got
Yes, either way moon is afflicted by Rahu Ketu. If your argument is just that moon's affliction by Rahu and Ketu shows some affliction of the mind, that is there with Virgo lagna, Libra lagna, any lagna you take, that is still there. So the bottom line is this: moon will be with Rahu and Ketu in D24 in many charts. It shows some problem with the mind. When it comes to learning things, the mind has some problem. But the thing is the problem so big that the person is actually unable to learn. He's acting in such a way that people think he is dumb. He's not. I mean, everybody may actually be intelligent. For all you know, this artistic kid also may be very intelligent. But the way his intelligence shows up, it makes people think, oh, he's dumb. So that is what is happening in this case. Somebody else's mind may also be afflicted. Somebody else may have Rahu and Ketu afflicting moon. When it comes to learning, his mind may start jumping somewhere else. He may not feel like continuing the learning, but still he may successfully learn whatever he needs to learn. So the thing is, don't just say moon is with Rahu Ketu, okay? That's a negative factor, but that's not all. See the lagna, the ascendant where it is in this particular divisional chart is always crucial. So if you see this ascendant, are there any afflictions to fifth house? Fifth house is the house of basic intelligence. Lagna is okay. Lagna, there are no serious afflictions. Actually, there are. What are the afflictions? One, the lagna lord, even though he is in the 9th house, he is joining a functional malefic, 3rd and 6th lord Jupiter, that too enemy. Venus and Jupiter are enemies. So the lagna lord being with an enemy and also being with the 3rd and 6th lord is a duryoga. It's a bad yoga. That is one affliction, right?
And 8th lord Venus is also, though it's lagna lord, it's
Venus is also 8th lord, but let's go easy on that aspect because he is also lagna lord. Now we are analyzing his placement as a lagna lord. For all Libra lagna people, Venus will also be the 8th lord. So we can't say he is a bad planet. He wants to, if he has a chance, he will also do some bad things. He will also give some anxiety relating to learning. But his main agenda being the lagna lord is to give a good foundation to the learning of the person. So the main weakness is the fact that he is with Jupiter. He is with 3rd and 6th lord and enemy Jupiter, okay? But is it a big enough drawback that you say he will be artistic? Definitely not, right? This is a weakness. There is a weakness in the foundation. But look at the 5th house. The 5th house is the house of intelligence, ability, the scholarship, all the abilities when it comes to learning, the learning ability of the person. How well he can learn. Now, are there any afflictions in that house? Yes, look, there are no planets there, but look who's there. The two upagrahas, the subplanets, the satellites, the sons of Saturn, Mandi and Gulika, these are the two sons of Saturn who are more evil than Saturn. They are occupying Aquarius in D24.
the lord is also afflicted.
More importantly, the Lord, where is he afflicted? The Lord Saturn is afflicted by Jupiter. But not only that, more importantly, Saturn is not the only Lord of Aquarius. It has another Lord. Who? Rahu. that Lord of 5th house, he is with an enemy. He is with an enemy moon, and he is basically engaged in a very fierce fight with moon in Badhakasthana. Any evil combinations in the Badhakasthana are even more evil. And just to refresh, for mobile signs like Libra, Aries, etc., the 11th house is the Badhakasthana. For fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, the 9th house is Badhakasthana. For dual signs like Gemini, Virgo, etc., the 7th house is Badhakasthana. So for Libra Lagna, Leo is the Badhakasthana, and Badhaka literally means troublesome, troublemaker. So they are in the troublemaker house, and he is engaged, he is basically afflicted by moon, and he is afflicting moon. So, and he is aspecting this 5th house. So the fact that Rahu is badly placed and afflicted, and the fact that Rahu aspects the 5th house, and the fact that in general Rahu is not Karaka for great intelligence. He is basically an enemy of the significator of intelligence, Jupiter. Jupiter and Mercury are the significators of intelligence, right, of 5th house when it comes to learning. And he is an enemy of Jupiter, and more importantly, Mandi and Vulka are there. So there are enough weaknesses. But the thing is, are these weaknesses enough for you to say that this person will not learn at all? No, the thing is, there are some fundamental strengths also in the chart, right? There are some fundamental strengths also. Lagna Lord is in 9th house with Jupiter. All said and done, Jupiter is a benefic planet, and Lagna Lord is with Yokarka Saturn. The 4th and 5th Lord Saturn is joining Lagna Lord Venus in 9th house. That is a great blessing. So we cannot. My humble opinion on this chart is, this person will learn things. This person's learning is starting very slowly, but his or her, is it him? His problem will be solved, and he will start learning and make some progress when it comes to education. He will have some education. He will not be totally uneducated. But the only problem is, what is the dasha running right now? What is the period? Rahu's period. It is the period of the 5th Lord who is in Badhakasthana. So that is not great. Rahu's period is running. So really, now earlier we said Rahu needs to be pacified, some remedies for Rahu and Moon, etc. But now given that Rahu's dasha is running, his period is running in life, and this is a long period. It just started barely 3.5 years back, and this is a 18-year period. So his life is under the influence of Rahu for another 15 years or whatever. Do the math. So he really needs to do some remedies for Rahu. He really needs to. Now, before we go to remedies, is there any other angle that you guys want to look at? Vaisheshika is okay? Okay. Just to refresh? Okay. Vaisheshika basically among the 16 or 10 or 6 or 7 divisional charts based on each Varga, you see in how many charts belonging to each group, in how many divisional charts, the planet occupies either own sign or exaltation sign or Mula Trikona. Basically well placed. And you count, okay, in Rashi, in D9, in D10, in D12, he is in one sign. Like that you count, and based on the count, there are names. If the higher the count is, the better it is. So if you look here, Rahu is in Simhasana Amsa, which is a great Amsa. I have no idea why. Yeah. Yeah. Right. The longitude may be slightly different. Are you using the Vishnabhi plane, the modified Lahirayana Amsa, or regular Lahirayana Amsa? So that is why. So the longitude is slightly off. So when the longitude slightly changes, maybe in one of the divisional charts, it basically changes. Anyway. But the thing is, if a planet is in a good Vaisheshika Amsa, it doesn't really mean the planet is good for you or does good things. The bottom line is, it only means the planet is very strong. Strong doesn't mean good. There may be a local strong man who may be your enemy, who may actually be out there to ruin you. He may be a local senator or somebody who knows all the senators and congressmen, but if he is your enemy, he is no good. So similarly here, he is very strong, but he is not really a good planet at all. He is the 8th lord. He is not even mixed like Jupiter. He is outright an evil planet, because being 8th lord and afflicting Lagna lord. So just out of curiosity, what Narayana Dasha is running? What is the Narayana Dasha running? Just out of curiosity, well, the first Dasha. So when is the next Dasha coming? Sagittarius Dasha, because the Dashas are starting from the 7th house. This is basically a progression of the 7th house. So during the Sagittarius Dasha, the results will be given of Gemini. So this will become the Lagna. Gemini will become the Lagna, and let's see how is that Dasha. So Jupiter Moon combination will occur in the Lagna, and in the natal chart Lagna Lord will be in the 8th house. Well, doesn't look good. Well, here also Ketu is in Lagna. Doesn't look good. Looks like some more suffering. Yeah, doesn't look good. Anyway, so the bottom line is he has bad Dashas based on the Narayana Dasha as well as m4a Dasha for a while, for another decade or so. So the thing is, he will probably start making progress in learning a little slowly, and they must do something. The boy obviously cannot do, so somebody on behalf of the boy they can do. And what can you do for Rahu? Yeah, Durga, Chandi. Rahu needs, he is a very evil planet, he needs a fierce god or goddess, not somebody very sattvic, very delicate, tender kind of god. He needs some fierce energy. So Durga or Chandi will be perfect. If either Chandi part can be done, or Durga's, some mantra or stotra of Durga can be done.
Problem is it is not that easy to learn.
I know,
So
it is not easy.
Chandi part in this kind of cases, for a practical point of view,
Yeah.
if I tell them do Chandi Patam, it's not going to happen.
Nothing, they will not do anything, right?
Nothing will
Right,
happen. So
right.
the best thing in this case is to suggest
See,
them to do.
I will say a couple of things on this regard. This is where, yes, you are absolutely right. This is where I am in two minds. The thing is, when you do a particular remedy, the effort that you are actually putting in, learning the remedy, practicing the remedy, doing the remedy, all that goes in to actually satisfy the deity of that remedy, and you are in that all of that goes towards burning the karma. The bottom line is, you are trying to burn some karma, and you can't do it magically. To burn some karma, Rahu is giving bad trouble in this chart because he remembers some bad karma that was done long back in a previous life. You don't remember, I don't remember, but Rahu remembers. Actually, planets are the planets and signs and stars. They're basically God's way of, it's like you push something, it pushes you back. Action has a reaction. So this is just a representation of the automatic reaction of nature. So the thing is, something was done and you want to escape the result. Suppose I did something bad, I provoked somebody really strong and he is out there to hit me, he is coming to hit me. Then if I want to escape, and let's say my hands are tied, somebody is coming to hit me, the only way you can save is somebody else comes and puts a hand, but then that hand will be hurt too. So some hurt has to be taken, not the exact hurt that is shown in the chart, but some hurt has to be taken, some pain has to be taken. So the thing is, if you want it to be really nice, like just sit for 5 minutes in meditation and do something and it will be magically solved, unfortunately I am sorry, it's not going to happen that way. Serious problems like this require serious remedies.
No, but
So the thing is, yeah, I understand what you are saying, but so the problem is, if they do some simple mantra, forget Chandi Saptasati, just read Saptashloki, which is 7 slokas, 7 verses, easy to learn. So if you read those 7 verses, that is fine. The only problem is, if you give something simple, people will tend to do it for 10 minutes and then, because it will take just 2 minutes, they will repeat it a few times, 10-15 minutes, and they will be done with it. Whereas if you say this thing will take 1 to 1.5 hours, and learning it will take a couple of months. So this is going to really solve the problem. If they really learn Chandi part and do it, this is going to solve the problem to whatever extent is possible, because not all problems are solvable. But whatever extent the problem is solvable, it will be solved. On the other hand, if you do something else, make sure you tell them that they have to spend an hour and a half every day, at least an hour, and preferably an hour and a half, in praying to some fierce deity.
some expense. In the form of expense, they are paying. In the form of sitting
Yeah.
there, doing the study home, they are sitting down for 3 hours.
Right.
They are expending the time and the patience to do that.
Right.
That way they can start, and over a period of time they can do this.
Yeah, that can be done. But I am actually not in favor of that. My personal opinion is, if they actually hire a priest to do a homam every day or something, the priest has to have the capability of transferring when he is doing the mantra, when he is doing the procedure, to take the right sankalpa, to take the right, at the beginning you take the sankalpa, and when he is actually generating some energy, he should have the ability to transfer that energy to the person. Basically, he should have the ability to focus his mind on this person's problem. If he is unable to do it, it's not really going to help. Moreover, if he just does it as a job, he is not really interested, he just comes and does it routinely, he doesn't have the passion from inside, it's not going to do anything. Even however elaborate, how many ever materials he uses, however big the fire is, whatever he does, it's going to do nothing. On the other hand, if the priest is somebody really pure, somebody of a good caliber, good spiritual caliber, somebody of a pure heart, and he does with great devotion and great dispassion, but at the same time having this person in the mind and focusing the mental energy on solving this person's problem, basically feeling the pain, if he does, then irrespective of how imperfectly he does, he will generate the result. But in my experience, such priests are rare to find in today's age, very rare. So you are better off doing your own job. Now the thing is, if you can't learn Chandipat, see that, look at it this way, if the person is actually trying to learn Chandipat, read one adhyaya every day, one chapter every day, even if he is not doing fully every day, even the effort actually goes towards appeasing the goddess. Even the effort put in is actually part of the sadhana. But if you want, you can suggest this. Just do the Saptashloki, the 7 slokas, do it for an hour every day, and spend another half hour learning the full thing. The thing with the full 700 slokas is, it is more balanced basically. Compared to the 7 slokas or any one sloka, it is actually a very balanced. Chandipat is a very balanced prayer. So if they can actually learn full Chandipat and do, that will be the ideal thing. So my advice would be, if you take a long time to learn it, do a short version like the 7 slokas out of 700. Just do that for an hour and spend some time learning the 700. There is hardly any point in engaging somebody unless you know somebody really, really good. Because the problem is, most priests generate no results these days. They just come and do, they just take your money and go. They are just getting a new karma. They are not doing you much favor, and they actually take your money away and go. As a result of it, they are going to be indebted to you. So they will basically carry all this load for their next life, and probably not even be born as a priest, be born as somebody else, and serve all the people that they actually took money from. So the bottom line is, I am a little pessimistic in this case, but I am not saying there aren't any good priests, but there are very few. So you are better off, my advice is, you are better off doing your own sadhana, your own penance, however imperfect it is. Because at least if the father or mother is doing a prayer to God for this child, the mind is really focused on the problem. The mind feels the pain of the person. The mental energy is concentrated on the problem. There is the devotion, the sincerity is there, which may not be there in a priest. So that much is taken care of. Now the only thing they have to do is spend sufficient amount of time and perfect the mantra, perfect the slokas as time goes on. But 50% of the thing all comes from the devotion anyway. So if they...
do we suggest the boy to wear the pearl?
Yeah, okay. So what can be worn? Any gemstones that can be worn? If you want to strengthen moon, who is actually quite weak in the chart, pearl is not a bad idea. But the thing is, moon is so weak that just wearing a pearl may or may not be able to strengthen him. On the other hand, suppose you wear, how about wearing Jupiter and moon together? Pearl and yellow sapphire. Do you think that will be a good idea? Yes, in D24 Jupiter is the problem. As far as learning is concerned, Jupiter is the problem. And secondly, even in Rasi, Jupiter is the 6th lord of obstacles. So, bad idea.
So we only
Pearl and yellow sapphire together is a bad idea. Pardon me?
You only do moon, only pearl, and then do a sattvic.
But the thing is, pearl is actually, it can be worn, but he is so weak that it's not likely to make any difference. Is there any other good planet in the chart?
No, but if the planet is weak, however weak he is, would the stone not lift him up?
Well, not necessarily.
What condition?
When you are putting a stone, the idea is, I will give you the analogy that I gave you earlier. Suppose you pray to a planet. It is akin to going to a person's house and praying, please, I want this from you, please give it to me. So if the person is bad towards you, his badness will decrease. He will say, okay, he is coming and praying, let me trouble him less. So he may call his people and say, well, go easy on him, if he is troublemaker. On the other hand, if he is somebody good to you, good for you, but unable to work on your behalf, he will be motivated. Okay, this guy wants me to help. He is a nice guy. Let me help him. So good planets in your chart will give augmented results, and bad planets in your chart relax a little bit. That is the analogy for praying. Praying is like going to somebody's house and requesting him, please spare me, or please help me, depending on whether good or bad. Now, what is the analogy I gave for wearing a gemstone? It is like bringing somebody to your house and keeping him in your house with you. Wearing on your body is like bringing somebody to your house. Now, if you bring a bad guy who is ruining you, a troublemaker, of course he will ruin your house. So you don't want any malefic planets on your body. But if somebody is benefic and you wear him, it is basically like somebody who wants to help you. You bring him to your house and keep him in your house. But the thing is, he is so weak. He wants to help you, but he is so weak. What can you do? You bring him to your house, so what? He always wanted to help you. Lagna Lord always wants to give you good help. So this person is your best friend. He is your greatest well-wisher. This person called Moon. You bring him to your house and put him in your house. What will you do? Whether he is in your house or elsewhere, he is your greatest well-wisher anyway. So don't think that wearing a gemstone will strengthen the planet. No. It will strengthen his influence on your life. That's it. His influence on you is already positive. The only problem is he himself is not strong enough to deliver results, despite being your greatest well-wisher. So wearing a gemstone, in my judgment, wearing a gemstone of Moon is hardly of any use. If at all, pray to Moon. In other words, your best well-wisher is so weak that he is unable to do anything. You go and tell him, you can do it, please help me. You can do it, please help me. Then he will get some enthusiasm, some motivation, and he will actually go and lift some weights on your behalf. You see, I am just giving a crude analogy, but the thing is, the best thing for Moon in this case is not wearing the gemstone. It is actually to pray. Praying to Rahu, praying to Durga or Chandi is for giving relief. Praying to Moon is to actually fight back. Both can be done, but Rahu is the key. Anyway, because Moon, in any case, is not the problem. Now, how about other Jupiter? Pardon me? Jupiter? Well, the thing is, Jupiter, he is also the 6th lord, apart from being the 9th lord. And like we said, in D24, he is not good. Even in D30, if I remember, he is actually a troublemaker. The chart of the subconscious problems. Jupiter is the 8th lord. So he is not actually to be strengthened. And if you look at Navamsya, which shows God's blessings, he is the 8th lord. So just forget it. Not Jupiter, not Jupiter. You don't want to wear yellow sapphire. No way. Definitely not by itself, and definitely not with pearl. So what else can be worn? If you really have to wear one stone, what can be worn?
Mars.
Yes, Mars. He is Yokarka. He is the 5th lord of Purva Punya, and he is also the 10th lord of career, karma. Fifth house is the house of intelligence, right? In the Rashi chart. So even in Siddhamsha, Mars is not bad. He is the 7th lord of interacting with other people on learning matters, and he is in the 6th house. 6th house of subduing enemies. For a malefic planet like Mars, being in the 6th house of enemies is good for overcoming the enemies. So Mars is actually a good planet in Siddhamsha. He is a good planet in Navamsha. He is a great planet in Rashi, and he is in the 9th house of protection, and he is aspecting Moon. His aspect is probably not strong. He is at 11 degrees, moon is at 1 degree. So it's not that strong, but it is there, the 4th house aspect of Mars. So there is a nearly full aspect of the Yogakaraka Mars on moon, which is actually an alleviating factor. And he can actually, Mars is so fierce that he can actually counter the fiercity of Rahu. Though moon is a very delicate, very soft, here it is Shukla Dvadasi. This is the waxing fortnight close to the full moon. So moon is a fully benefic planet. So moon is a very nice, moon is like a gentleman in this chart, and Rahu is like an evil person, and Mars is also like a very cruel person. He is a cruel person, but he is good to moon. So to fight Rahu, Mars is the perfect foil for Rahu. So Mars can be strengthened. So here I am not talking about praying. You can put the gemstone. So bottom line is, you have somebody who is your greatest well-wisher, but he is being hammered by your greatest ill-wisher, your enemy. He is being hammered somewhere else. Now there is somebody who is looking at them, with interest, and who has a role to play with them, and he is good to you. Now you bring him to your house and say, okay, come on boss, sit here, take care of our house. Then he will actually do you good. So Mars is the one. So red coral will be a very good stone to wear. And in what finger? This is dharma, this is artha, this is kama, this is moksha. So here you are talking about the well-being of the body, which is basically a dharma, which is the beauty. This is not artha or kama.
Which is dharma is this, right?
Dharma is the ring finger. That is why in most cultures, when somebody is married, the tradition is to wear on this finger. This is called ring finger, because marriage is a dharma. It's basically for dharma, doing your duty. No. Dharma is the ring finger. Dharma is ring finger. Artha, your job and the purpose that you serve in the society, is the middle finger. Artha. Kama is, and another thing is, I think I mentioned earlier, in some religions like in Buddhism, they basically hold, thumb is basically yourself, your ego. They hold the thumb and the ring finger together when they meditate. This is the pose that they use. Basically they are interested in dharma. The Buddhist monks who are doing this mudra, this hand posture, like this or like this, there are many ways, but the thing is some contact between thumb, some chakras in the thumb and some chakras in the ring finger. That is basically, that will focus your mind on dharma. It will, if you keep that posture for a long time, it will increase the dharma within you. It will make you more dharmic. So in Buddhism, their motto is dharmo rakshata rakshitaha, or buddham saranam gacchami, dharmam saranam gacchami. They say we obey our dharma, then God takes care of us. So that is why they use this posture. In some religions, some traditions, they actually use the middle finger, but I am not aware of any tradition where middle finger is used alone. If you use middle finger, you also use the ring finger. This is a posture, for example, many Hindu saints use, the middle two fingers. And this posture, basically you are using dharma and artha. It is considered a sin to just focus your mind on artha. If you just want money, if you just want your job and money without dharma, not following the dharma also at the same time, it is a sin. So dharma and this posture is basically dharma and artha together. And this is kama. The little finger is for kama. So if you are actually doing something, some meditation with a particular desire in mind, suppose you want to get married or something, it's not at all a bad idea to use your little finger. But the thing is, if you are talking about marriage, you are actually talking about dharma, so this finger is also appropriate, the ring finger. But bottom line is, little finger shows desire, kama. And I am actually aware of some people who use the little finger like this, little finger and thumb, when they meditate in certain mantras. This is also used, though not very common. But this is also very common. Apart from this and this, the index finger and thumb is a very common posture, and index finger is moksha. It is basically liberation from all these desires, this job, this dharma, everything, so that you met with God. All of them.
That's why you say energy is not flowing out.
Anyway, so what is the finger on which it should be worn? On the ring finger, so that Mars does the dharma and takes care of the body of this person.
Is it also to wear in neck because of this boy is so little, right?
Yeah.
Is it advisable?
Yeah, you can wear on the neck, no problem.
In chain or chain.
Yeah, you can wear in a chain, no problem at all.
Do we want to see quickly D6 and D30 to see if this Mars is going to be a troublesome thing for the health?
Yes. D30 he is fine. See, D6 is the 7th and 2nd lord in the 3rd house. Not bad. 7th lord with Lagna lord, with 11th lord, with Yokarka. There are decent yogas. Moreover, being a natural malefic in the 3rd house. Natural malefics in 3rd, 6th and 11th are good. Especially in 3rd and 6th, they show fight back. So Mars in 3rd is very good for fighting back. On, not in every matter, but just in D6 matters. D6 shows diseases, ill health, etc. So when it comes to fighting back on some ill health, Mars is a very good planet. So wearing red coral is not bad from that point of view.
So we will suggest to him to use red.
And even in D30 you can see that Mars is not 8th lord or 6th lord or something. He is basically the 7th and 12th lord. So it's not bad at all. He is in 5th house. Not bad at all. So red coral can be suggested. He doesn't have to wear anything, just do Chandi part is sufficient, or Chandi Sapasloki is sufficient. But if he wants to wear a gemstone, the best will be red coral. It will do him good.
Is listening also is any benefit at all?
Listening what?
I mean, Chandi Sapasloki, because he is a little kid.
Yeah,
so
that's
keep
fine.
Putting it in the
If he listens, it is perfectly fine. But the thing is, more than his listening, somebody actually reading it with devotion is more important, whether he listens or not. If somebody has this child in mind and really wants this child to get better, and with that spirit, with great devotion, believing that there is a goddess sitting in front of you, when you do the meditation, believe that she is sitting in front of you or standing in front of you. With that, and after you cross certain threshold, she is actually going to solve the problem. Have that faith and then do Chandi part. That is sufficient. He doesn't have to listen. You don't have to force a small child to listen, because it's not going to serve much purpose. Yeah. If he is there, if he is able to listen, better, no problem at all. He can listen. Any other comments or questions or musings or? Okay. So good luck to the child. Let's just make a quick prashna. Let's just see how the is there going to be some improvement, or is he going to be like this? Okay. I just want to make a prashna. Good.
And you got Jupiter right in the Lagna.
Right. Jupiter is in the Lagna.
No, not in Lagna.
Right. Good. Excellent. So Jupiter is in Lagna, and let's see the Navamsha. So our rules for seeing Prashna are: Jupiter has to do something with Lagna, either be Lagna, aspect Lagna Lord, be with Lagna Lord. Here Jupiter is in Lagna, so the question is Janyu. We can basically go ahead. Basically, which means stars are willing to answer, so we can go ahead. Otherwise, we would have skipped. The next criterion is the Navamsha rising sign should have something to do with the person's chart. It should be either the person's Lagna or the sign containing Lagna Lord in the person's chart, etc. If that is the case, again stars are willing to answer. Otherwise, we should just skip. Here, Lagna is Cancer in the Navamsha, which is actually the rising sign in the chart of the person, if you remember. So, which means the stars are actually willing to answer. Moreover, the Lagna Lord Moon is joining Jupiter, and in this chart also Moon was joining Jupiter. So there are some links with this Navamsha of the person's chart, which shows that we are getting an answer. The nature is basically willing to answer us at this time. So this is meaningful. So we can actually proceed further. And if you look at the Navamsha, it shows the previous developments and the previous position, etc. So Lagna Lord is with the 6th Lord, and Lagna contains Badhaka Lord Venus and 8th Lord Saturn. So there is some trouble. So we are talking about some health problems, etc. But let's skip all this. Directly go to Drekana so that we see the future. The future, the past is from Navamsa, the present is from Rasi, and the future is from Drekana. So let us go to the Drekana, not Somanath Drekana. We want regular Parasara Drekana. This is the variation we want. So if you see the D3 chart, is there any scope of improvement? Let us see. How is Lagna?
Rekana, you said Parasara Rekana when you go there, shows the future.
Yes. What did we do? Jagannath Drekana? No. Oh, you are saying we didn't do Drekana at all?
No, Rekana we did deeply, but Rekana referencing to the future. Reference to the future we didn't do.
Okay. Basically, if you are looking at a prasna, a horary chart, if you want to get insight into the future, D3 is supposed to be the chart.
So this is going to be only in
Prasna, just in prasna. In regular individual charts, in the chart of the birth of a person, you see D3 to see the siblings, brothers, sisters, etc. But in this particular case, in the case of prasnas, the horary, you look at the future from this. So if you see the Lagna has moon, and moon is a benefic or malefic. This is Shukla Sashti. This is basically the waxing, 6th day of the waxing phase, waxing fortnight. So he is a benefic, and he is 4th lord. Pardon me? Because, pardon me? Yeah, benefic owning quadrant becomes malefic. So functionally he is a malefic, right? So moon is a functional malefic, and he is in Lagna, he is in ascendant. So it's not that good. But how is Lagna Lord? Lagna Lord Mars is in a trine with the 9th Lord Jupiter. So that should give us hope. Lagna Lord in a trine with the 9th Lord is always showing promise. So with some remedies relating to either Jupiter or Mars, there can be some relief. In this, from this Drekana chart, we are getting, again, moon is really weak. And by the way, Rahu is in the 6th house. Is it good? He is Badhakesha. Normally Rahu in 6th would have been good, but he is Badhakesha. He is the lord of the 11th house for a mobile sign. So Badhakesha in the 6th house is bad. So Rahu is bad here. Again, moon and Rahu are problematic. Jupiter and Mars are showing relief. So this is kind of like in the chart. So whatever we suggested, wear a red coral, we can still go ahead. This also is confirming that red coral will be very good for the person. So let the person wear a red coral. Let him. Earlier I wasn't very sure, but after seeing this also, I think we should suggest red coral, wearing red coral, and pray to the mother. Pray to a fierce form of the mother, and hopefully there will be some relief. And how is the, you want to see, let us go back to the chart. Is there any chance of some progress this year itself? Let us see current year's chart. So let us go to Tithi Pravesh. We are in 2008. Click the Tithi Pravesha chart. So the annual chart, the lunar annual chart, solely lunar annual chart for this year, the lunar return chart has Lagna in Sagittarius, and who is the Hora Lord? The Hora Lord is Moon. He is the ruler of the year. Well, he happens to be the 8th Lord in the 6th house. Not good. One sec. Only thing is Lagna has Jupiter, but Lagna also has 6th Lord Venus in an integral sign. So there are, it doesn't seem like this year will solve the problem or something, but Jupiter is quite good. Even in Siddhamsha D24, Jupiter is Lagna Lord in the 4th house. We don't know how accurate this is. 2 minutes on either side. So let's hope that is accurate within 2 minutes 12 seconds. So let's hope this is right. So Jupiter is the Lagna Lord in the 4th house of learning. That is very good. So particularly this year, the time is Jupiter period is over. So the bottom line is this is a mixed year. How is the next year? Will there be considerable progress next year? This year there are restrictions, but let us see next year. Is there any considerable progress next year? Who's the Hora Lord? Saturn. Saturn is Badhaka Lord in the 5th house of learning, not so well placed. Lagna Lord Mars is exalted, but with Rahu. Mars is 7 degrees, Rahu is 15 degrees, reasonably close. he is also with Sun, Jupiter, etc. So there are some nice yogas, but Badhaka Lord Rahu is spoiling the party there. And in Siddhamsa, the chart of learning, the Lagna Lord Venus is afflicted by Badhaka Lord Sun, and also he is combust, and Mercury is afflicted by Rahu Ketu. So there is some improvement. Next year will be better than this year. This year is not so good. Next year will be better as far as learning is concerned. The coming year, 2009, will be a better year. Anything else you want to see relating to this young man's chart? To wear a ring, what is a good time? Well, the problem, pardon me? In general, what we suggest is to wear any ring. Do it on the weekday of the planet. So if it is Mars, you are wearing a red coral, do it on a Tuesday, on a Mangalwar. Preferably do it just after sunrise, so that it will be the Mars Hora, the planetary hour ruled by Mars. So do it just after sunrise on a Tuesday. Ideally, you should see where the rising sign is, how the planets are placed, how is Mars placed in the chart at the time of wearing. But the thing is, we can't really do all that. We can't really control all that. So good luck. Just hope that they will pick a good time.
Or is it better that in the location you just give Abhijit Muhurta and then
Usually you give Abhijit Muhurta is not really useful. It only looks at the strength of sun. God knows what house sun will own. So forget Abhijit. Just give sunrise. For this purpose, they give the Prajapati Muhurta, not Abhijit Muhurta. Prajapati Muhurta is sunrise. So to give the sun. Tell them to wear at sunrise. Pray for 1 hour before sunrise. Put that ring in their puja room, wherever they pray, whatever place where they play.
6 days from now?
How many ever days? Let's say a week. For a week, put it in their puja room and do some prayer. Some prayer or the other. Chant some mantra in front of that ring for a week, every day for an hour. And then on the 7th day, after 7 days, on the 8th day, make sure that it's a Tuesday. If not 8th day, 9th day, 10th day, or some day after 7 days, on a Tuesday at sunrise, before sunrise, go 1 hour before sunrise, do some Angaraka mantra. You can just say Om Mangalaya Namaha, Om Mangalaya Namaha, or there is what is it? One for Dharni Garbhasam Bhotam Vijitkan Samabrahmam Kumaram Shakti Haspandam Mangalam Pranamiham, that mantra, or the Vedic mantra, Agir Modha Deva, that mantra. So pick some mantra. If they don't know anything, just Om Mangalaya Namaha. Or if they can't even do that, I pray to Mars, please help me. I pray to Mars, please help me. Something, pick something, do it for an hour. Just repeat it for an hour, and then after that, wear the gemstone. Anything else? Okay. Do you have any other chart that you want to see? Yeah.
Again, the health problem.
Yeah.
I looked at this chart a while ago.
Yeah.
But somehow I don't think I made a right prediction, or I didn't focus on it. I didn't tell them, but she is totally bedridden for about 4 months.
Yeah.
Some chart we looked at our class where he had trouble, the boy who was going to be in medicine, then he dropped out. He had
Okay.
some mental problem and stuff like that. This lady mother got into trouble. She was bedridden for about 4 months or so in hospital.
Okay.
Now she is detected with, now she needs kidney transplantation.
Oh, so there is a kidney problem.
And bone marrow issue, and it is a
Do you remember the chart? Do you remember the name? If you can open it, we can take a look.
I didn't predict that bad. I said that you may have to take care, but I did not predict it that bad.
So you knew that there was some problem, but you didn't expect it to become so bad.
No, I did not.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
This is June. She is hospitalized sometime in February, March.
this year.
This year.
So we are looking at the chart of somebody who was hospitalized around February, March this year, and then later she was detected with some serious kidney problems. Kidney, right?
Bone marrow.
bone marrow problems.
Cancer.
Oh, I see. So she has blood cancer or... Okay, he is not sure what the problem is, but there is some problem.
But I'm told that they are looking for donor for a bone marrow.
Okay, so they are looking for a bone marrow transplant and looking for a donor for bone marrow. So she needs a bone marrow transplant right now. So let us see the chart. First the data. 1951 August 5, 2:37, 2 hours 30 minutes 7 seconds AM. Must be rectified by you.
I think we rectified.
Okay. The place is Repalle, India. Repalle, Repalle, India. And the longitude is 80 degrees 51 minutes east. The latitude is 16 degrees 1 minute north. And the time zone is 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT. Okay. So the Lagna is 2 degrees 48 minutes Gemini. And moon is at 10 degrees 17 minutes Leo. Okay. So let us see the chart. What is the Dasha running right now? Let us not actually, we will wrap up in another half hour, so we won't spend too much time on this. So let us quickly see for any afflictions, and first let us see the Dasha that is running right now. So the problem started sometime this year, may have started earlier, but it came to the surface. It surfaced basically this year. So let us see the Dasha. First, what is the Dasha we should use for this person? The regular Vimshottari Dasha, or is there a special Dasha that is applicable in this chart? What do you guys think? Is there a special Dasha? Yes, the 10th Lord Jupiter from Gemini Lagna is in the 10th house. When the 10th Lord is in the 10th house, there is a special conditional Dasha called Chaturasiddhi Samadasha that is applicable. Applicable if 10th Lord is in 10th. So based on this system, this is the one recommended by Parashara for this chart. Based on this, what is the Dasha running right now? Saturn Dasha is running. And what is the Antardasha running right now? From June of last year till March of next year, it is Mars Antardasha. So Saturn Dasha, Mars Antardasha. Is it problematic? Saturn is the 8th Lord. Saturn is the 8th Lord for Gemini. He is also the 9th Lord, but he is 8th Lord too. Moreover, A6, do you see A6 here? A6 is in Saturn sign. A6 is the actual manifested disease. 6th house is the house of disease, and A6 is the manifestation of the disease. So he is the Lord of 8th house, he is the Lord of A6, and he is in a quadrant. It's not a good placement for Saturn. Saturn is well placed in 3, 6 and 11, but not really in the 4th house. Now, and 6th Lord Mars is in Lagna. Mars is a functional male fig for Gemini Lagna. He is the 6th and 11th Lord, and he is afflicting Lagna. So that is problem. So in Saturn Dasha, in Mars Antardasha, the problem came to the fore. Unfortunately, Mars is your Atmakarka. Let us quickly check any planet in Vruchibhag. Nobody. Excellent. So nothing really that damaging. And let us see the Drakanas. Mars is in Ayudha Drakana, weapon. Saturn is in fire. Both are in evil Drakana. So Drakanas are also not good. Anyway, let us. Just to see if a planet is in evil Drakanas, the results will basically be more difficult. Whereas if the planet is in a soft Drakana, the problem given by it will not be very serious. Ayudha means weapon. It is a bad Drakana. Snakes, Sarpa Drakana is a bad Drakana. So, for example, this Drakana, Mandi is in Mruga, Shubha. Mruga means animal and Shubha means auspicious. Chatuspada means quadruped. So there are several Drakanas which are inauspicious, which are not bad. I just wanted to see where Saturn and Mars are. Especially Mars is in Ayudha Drakana, weapon. It basically shows big harm to the body. So Mars is in a very evil Drakana. So Mars is a real troublemaker. So Saturn Dasha started. Probably some problem started, and once Mars Antardasha started, Mars subperiod, now we have a problem. Now, the good news is, what is the next Antardasha? Mercury. And who is Mercury? He is the Lagna Lord. He is the rising sign Lord. Gemini is owned by Mercury. and the Lagna Lord never wants to harm the person. If he is weak, he is unable to help, but he never harms. Mars, on the other hand, he is the Lord of the house of disease, afflicting the body, afflicting Lagna, which shows the body. So he is actually giving big problem to the body. So my feeling is Mercury should be favorable. The Mercury Antardasha, even though the Dasha is still that of Saturn, Saturn is not only the 8th Lord, he is also the 9th Lord. So, and also Mercury and Saturn are friends. So being a friend of the Dasha Lord and being the Lagna Lord who is so interested in getting this person healthy again, Mercury may actually help him. So Mercury Antardasha is to be looked forward to.
So what made the problem to be so serious that she is hospitalized?
Right. Now, based on the Rashi chart, we can say that there will be some big problem, big blow to the body. 6th Lord in Lagna, some big blow to the body, right? So far that is clear in Mars Antardasha, especially in Saturn Dasha. Actually, any Mars Antardasha is capable of giving bodily blow, especially in Saturn Antardasha, because Saturn is also the 8th Lord and a 6th Lord. So that we are sure, we are clear. Now let us see the D6. Is there a problem that Saturn is showing in D6 also? Because if there is a problem in Rashi chart, Rashi is the overall physical being, the overall physical existence. If there is some problem to the body, it may be a disease, it may be cancer, it may be an accident, just an accident that you go through one day, some blood, and then in a few days you are fine. It may show that, or it may also show suffering for many days and being hospitalized. So which one it is? In order for it to be a serious disease, it has to be shown in D6. D6 is the chart of diseases, tangible physical diseases.
Yeah, but D1 it has to show very clearly because physically they are imprisoned, right?
For me?
Physically they are imprisoned or they are physically they are in the hospital. So D1
Right.
has to show that detail.
D1 has to show the detail, yes. We'll try to see it, but let us first see the D6 chart. So if you see the D6 chart, how is D6? See, you were talking about for hospitalization to be limited to a particular place, like a hospital. You were saying that the 12th house has to be active, etc., right? The thing is, the whole Mars Dasha she may not be hospitalized, but in the Mars Antardasha, there may be a Prachantardasha that brings the hospitalization. If you see here, from March 18 to June 17, it is the Venus Prachantardasha. The sub phase is that of Venus. And who is Venus? He is the 12th Lord. Of course, he is also the 5th Lord, but he happens to be the 12th Lord. And what does 12th house show? Hospitalization. Of course, it's not the only one thing. 12th house also shows going abroad, so many things, having a loss, having a financial loss, etc. Now, as I always say, when you look at a sub phase, you have to see it from the context of the sub phase. When you look at the sub phase, you have to see it from the context of the main phase that is running. And here, the fact is the phase and the sub phase, the period and the sub period are those of troublesome planets. It shows diseases, suffering, etc. So, from that context, when Venus Prachantardasha comes, the Venus sub period, it shows being hospitalized because it's the 12th Lord. 12th Lord afflicting Lagna Lord. 12th Lord afflicting Lagna Lord, and also with the 6th Lord. 6th Lord Ketu shows some undiagnosable disease. 6th Lord shows disease. Ketu is the other 6th Lord. Apart from Mars, Ketu is the other 6th Lord. And he shows difficult to diagnose diseases. Mars is easy to diagnose, but Ketu and Rahu, they show things that are tough to diagnose. And that Ketu is associated with Venus. So Venus is basically giving bed rest and hospitalization on account of an undiagnosable disease. But of course, not every Venus Prachantardasha will give this result, because this is a 3-month period which will be coming every couple of years. But the thing is, coming in the Mars Antardasha, in the 6th Lord Antardasha, in the 8th Lord Dasha, this is of interest as far as so this shows hospitalization. This period particularly shows hospitalization, right? Now anyway, forgetting the hospitalization, Mars and Saturn do show a serious problem, but is it health problem or an accident? Or it could also be you basically you flunk your exams, you are unable to do your exams. Basically 6th house is obstacles, it's not just ill health. So suppose you don't do exams, or suppose in your job you are having lot of problems, so many things are possible. It also shows divorce. 7th house is the house of marriage and 6th is the house of divorce. 8th is also the 8th and 6th, they basically show the end of the marriage. So 8th Lord Dasha, 6th Lord Antardasha can also show divorce. Of course, she is a very old lady, but the thing is, just based on the Rashi chart, you can't say which one it is. It may be so many things. There may be 15-20 different possibilities. We know that something bad is going on. Now, to confirm that this is an ill health, this is a disease, go to D6, the chart of diseases. Where is Saturn here? Oops, he is the Badhaka Lord. Again, the Badhaka Lord, the troublemaker. In the 8th house from from Aries Lagna, he is in Scorpio, he is in the 8th house. Not good. 8th house and 6th house and Badhaka, these three houses in the D6 show big suffering, big ill health. Now, how is Mars? Is he any better? He is the Lagna Lord and also 8th Lord. And don't think that Lagna Lord protects you, not in D6. In D6, Lagna Lord's job is to give you ill health. So, Lagna Lord and 8th Lord, and he is in 6th house.
So D6 Lagna Lord still doesn't give you protection.
He is not protection basically. Lagna Lord of Rashi is protection. So D6 Lagna is self from the point of view of the area of life shown by the divisional chart. So Lagna Lord in D24 shows self from the point of view of learning. Lagna in D10 shows self from the point of view of professional life. Self as expressed in professional life. Similarly, Lagna Lord in D9 will show self as expressed in marital life, dharmic life. Similarly, Lagna and Lagna Lord in D6 will show self from the point of view of ill health, diseases, etc. So he is not necessarily giving you any protection. He actually can show ill health. Bottom line is he is in the 6th house of disease. So unfortunately, the two planets who are in the bad houses, 8th and 6th, and also linking the Badhakasthana, Saturn is linking the Badhakasthana, their dashas are running. So this is not really great. This is not really a good period. And how is Mercury from the D6 point of view? How is Mercury? In Saturn dasha, Mercury Antardasha is starting soon, right? How is Mercury? What does he show? He is the 6th Lord afflicted by Badhaka Lord Rahu and 8th Lord Ketu. So he is showing actually, is he showing any improvement in the situation? Yeah. Is he showing any improvement in the situation? Or is he also showing ill health?
Being a 3rd Lord, he can give some initiative, some recovery procedures.
Yeah. 3rd and 6th are basically the house of fight back. So being the Lord of those, he gives fight back on relating to health. But he doesn't show good health. He only shows fighting successfully. So she is taking medicine, she is under medication, there is hope basically.
But the issue is that he is fighting against 8th Lord and also the
Badhaka Lord.
He is fighting against two big
Right.
evils.
Right. See, the thing that you have to remember is, even though he is the 6th Lord here, he is the Lagna Lord of the Rashi chart. So he owns the physical body of this person. It is not in his interest to destroy the physical body of this person. So Mercury is the greatest benefit as far as physical well-being is concerned. So he will try to fight the influence of Rahu and Ketu, being in a quadrant in this D6 and being in a fruitful sign Cancer. Cancer is a very sattvic sign. Planets in Cancer, they tend to give good results easily and bad results with difficulty. On the other hand, planets in Saturn signs and Mars signs, they tend to give bad results easily and good results with difficulty. So he is in a very fruitful sign. And he is the Lagna Lord. Moreover, Rahu and Ketu are friends. When you want to protect something, protect a monument, and some bad guys want to demolish it, if they are your friends, you have a better luck talking them into walking away. So there is some hope in the Mercury Antardasha. But the thing is, the fact is, even though in the Rasi he is the Lagna Lord, showing, oh my God, she is going to die. I mean, she may die. That kind of tension may go away because he is the Lagna Lord. So she will get a new lease of life. Probably find a donor. Probably the procedure will be successful, and she will basically be comfortable. But in D6, the chart of disease, he is still with bad guys, and he himself is a bad guy. So he cannot give complete recovery. Even if you take Saturn as Lagna, the Dasha Lord as Lagna, he is the 8th and 11th Lord in the Badhaka Sthana. He cannot give complete recovery. So complete recovery is several years away, if at all possible. But in the Mercury Antardasha, there will be some recovery. But she will not be fully well. She will still be probably bedridden, taking medicines, etc. That is what 3rd and 6th house ownership probably shows.
Who are the ones whom we should propitiate?
Okay, who can she propitiate? What is your advice? The troublemaker is, main troublemaker is Mars, Saturn and Mars, especially Mars. Right?
So I would suggest to go for Kali.
Maybe. Wait a minute. And Mars in both in D6 and Rasi is a sign of Mercury. Secondly, Mercury is a very good planet.
So we should take
You can take a Vaishnava deity,
Vaishnava deity.
and you can take Hanuman, Narsimha or Hanuman. For Mars, you can pray to Hanuman or Narsimha. As a matter of fact, if you pray to Narsimha, it will also harness the effect of Mercury under nodal influence. Mercury can also be, Mercury is basically Vishnu. So praying to Vishnu will be good in this case. It will basically strengthen Mercury. Specifically, if you pray to the Avatara, the incarnation of Vishnu called Narsimha, it will actually strengthen both Mercury and Mars. It will basically appease Mars and strengthen Mercury. So my suggestion would be Narsimha.
I thought about that, but then suddenly I came to Kali. The reason being, why strengthen the 6th Lord so much?
No, we are not strengthening. We are praying.
We are praying for
We are not wearing the gemstone. For praying, even the worst malefic you can pray. You can go on, please spare me. And now by praying to Narsimha, you are actually mixing the influence of Mercury with Mars, with that of Mars. So that is not a bad thing at all. So my strong suggestion is Narsimha. Somebody do some Narsimha mantra. The best is the mantra, the pada mantra. Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, that mantra. It's a 32 letter mantra. You can get it on the internet. So Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, that mantra. If she can do it an hour every day, if she can't, somebody else on her behalf, somebody who's really attached to her, somebody who really wants her to remain alive, somebody who has a stake in it, if he or she can do that mantra for an hour every day, at the same time, same place, as much as possible, that will be good. That will give her some relief. That should find the that should basically accelerate the recovery process. By the way, are there any? Is this a Marka period? Is this a death inflicting dasha? Can she die in this dasha? Pardon me? Yeah. Okay, actually we will go to Shola dasha later. Just this Nakshatra dasha, the Nakshatra dasha, Shata, Chaturasi Samdasha, is this a Marka dasha?
Marka dasha means that means there should be influence of 2nd or 7th Lord.
Second, 7th, 8th, 3rd, right?
2nd, 7th.
See, Saturn is a malefic who owns the 8th house.
Correct.
So is he a killer or not?
He is not that big a killer. He is a more disease giving person. 2nd and 7th are going to kill more. than
Perfect.
8th.
So 3rd Lord's son, who is in the 2nd house, is a perfect killer, right?
So his son is thing is what's not running.
Sun is not running, but it's coming in 2014.
Yeah, far away.
It's far away. But that is the real. Saturn is also killer, but a very weak killer. He is unlikely to kill. And current Antardasha of Mars, is it a killer Antardasha? Nah, not at all. Mercury, is it a killer period? Definitely not. Now, Jupiter, is he a killer? He is. 7th Lord is a killer. Period. 2nd, 7th Lords are killers. Similarly, 3rd and 8th Lords, if they are badly placed in 2nd or 7th or afflicted, they are killers. Here, Jupiter is very strong. He is the 7th Lord, very strong. He is a killer.
But he is in his own house in 10th house.
So what? He is a killer. Killer is relaxing at his own home. He can trigger the bullet from his own home. from the luxury of his own home. No, that's not a problem. He is a killer, no question. But the Mahadasha, the main period, is not that of a great killer. So probably he is safe. Anyway, go to the next one. Is Venus a killer? Nah. Even though he is in the third lord, he is 5th and 12th lord in the third. Not really a killer. Not based on classics. So Saturn Mahadasha probably won't kill, but the greatest danger, if any, is in 2012. 2011 and 2012. 2010 November till 2012 August. There is some concern, but probably this is not the one. But Sun, very difficult to save. Once the Sun Dasha comes, it will be very difficult to save her. Sun, Moon, both are very dangerous periods. Because Moon is the second lord in third, Sun is the third lord in second. Both are killers. So Sun, Moon, one of the two. 2014 to 2017. 2014 May to 2017 October. There is a grave danger, and it is very difficult to escape that period. Now you were saying something. What were you saying? Shula Dasha? So if you see the Shula Dasha, which is specifically for seeing longevity, troubles and death, serious troubles and death. This is the Dasha of death. Shula is the weapon of Shiva. Basically the trident of Shiva, with which he punishes the evils in the people, and of course also the people. So what is the Dasha running right now? Sagittarius. Is this a Marga Dasha? Yeah, well, it's the third house from Arun Lagna, but there are no serious afflictions. So this has the potential. But if you see the next Dasha, it is actually the 8th house from Lagna. If you see Capricorn, it is the 8th house from Lagna, and it is aspected by this evil combination. From all these planets, this combination is aspecting Capricorn. So Capricorn is probably the Dasha. And based on the Nakshatra Dasha also, this is the period we got, Sun Dasha, after 2014 May. So anyway, looks like there is no problem as far as longevity is concerned. There is no danger. She may have to suffer, she may have to stay in the hospital for a while, but she will live. That is my feeling. Anything else? And pray to Narasimha. Definitely that will do good. It will definitely work in this case. In the other case, Chandi part, it will work, but very slowly, because the afflictions are too serious. But here, there is actually more hope. So, praying to Narasimha will be very good. Anything else you want to see?
Not on this chart, but a couple of general questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Many questions.
Yeah, actually, her birthday is coming in a few days. Let's quickly see how is the next year's chart. Her birthday, the lunar birthday, she was born on August 5, but this year her birthday is on August 3rd. So happy birthday to her. It's a month away. The Hora Lord is Venus. He is the ruler of the year. He is the boss for the year. And if you look at the Lagna, Lagna has lot of planets. So it's kind of like a rebirth kind of year. Luckily, Venus is the 10th Lord, 3rd Lord in Lagna. Not too great, not too bad. The greatest thing is 5th Lord Jupiter is in the 5th house and aspecting Lagna. The 9th aspect on Lagna, reasonably close, 9 degrees.
7th Lord and 6th house giving you strength to fight.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Saturn-Mars combinations occurs in Lagna. So, it shows a year of some suffering. It doesn't show a year where she says, cool, now I am fine. It shows a year of suffering. But the interesting thing is this. By the way, the ruler of the year Venus is in Gandanta. He is in the first 3 degrees of Leo. He is in 2 degrees 15 minutes of Leo. So the first 3 degrees of Leo are dangerous. It is Gandanta, right? So he is in Gandanta. So that is actually not good. So this shows a delicate year. But the worst thing is this. Look at the Lagna Lord Sun. How is he? He is in the 12th house. He is in Marankaraka Sthana. He is in death inflicting sign for him. And he is with Ketu. He is basically eclipsed by Ketu. Reasonably close. So, will she be out of hospital anytime soon? Okay, she may have come home, but the thing is, she will continue to basically visit hospitals, take medicines, etc. Because 12th house is very strong. 12th house being so strong, she has to be visiting hospitals. Some problem or the other will keep coming. She has to keep visiting doctors. Lagna Lord is in the 12th house with Ketu. So that, and in Mankargasthana. So this is a delicate year. This is not really a year of full relief. How is the next year?
But also we saw that until
Yes.
until sometime in March or April of 2009, this
Right.
Karandasarana.
Yes, that is what I am looking at. Next year, if you look, the Hora Lord is Mars. He is in a quadrant. He is a quadrant Lord. He is actually decently placed with a Yokaraka. Lagna has Jupiter. He is not that bad. Saturn is Lagna Lord, aspecting Lagna pretty closely from a quadrant. Not bad at all. This looks much better. Even this has weaknesses, but this looks much better. So my feeling is the current year will continue to be a bad year, continue to be a dicey kind of year, very dicey. The next year will be the year when there will be more recovery. But let them pray. Let them pray. Who knows? Things can, whatever is shown in the horoscope, the degree can actually be modified with prayer. So let them pray, and good luck. Okay. Any other comments you want to say, or
Not on this side.
okay? General questions.
General question.
Go ahead.
When you want to suggest to somebody
Yeah.
for their name,
Yeah.
do you have they are buying a house.
Yeah.
So the house they are looking at is facing southwest.
Okay.
And boy is Yamuna and the girl is Chitta.
Okay.
So coming from the names to the direction that is better for them.
Oh, what is the good direction the house should face based on the name or nakshatra? Unfortunately, I have no clue. I'm not really. I'll have to make up something. I'm not aware of any. There must be some theory, but unfortunately, I'm not learned in that theory. So
Is there any other theory in which we can suggest? Okay, they are looking at a house which is southwest.
yeah.
Is there anything where I can say southwest okay to go? Because
See, forget the nakshatra and the horoscope of the person, but in general there is a shastra called Vastu that is becoming popular in India now. But the thing is, anyway, let me not say all that. But one thing is, some people have this impression that a house facing east is good, a house facing west is bad, a house facing north is good, a house facing south is bad, like that. There are some thumb rules, but these are just thumb rules. People are going by stupid thumb rules. The real shastras actually say house can face any direction. The main door of the house can be in any direction. But the thing is, if it is in the west, there is a particular portion of west which is okay. If it is in south, there is a particular portion of the south which is good. So if you divide the house into 81 parts, the east-west divide into 9 equal parts, the north-south divide into equal parts. So you make a grid of 81 squares, equal-sized squares, 81 squares. Then each square is ruled by a particular deity. When you do if you do Vastu Mandala, if you search for it on the internet, you will find a picture, nice picture. So which is owned by Parjanya, which is owned by this god, which is owned by that god, Kusumadanta. You can find all that. But again, you will have to know what those gods stand for. Some of those are evil, some of those are auspicious. So the doors of certain gods are actually considered very auspicious. So if you have the door in a direction, in the portion shown by that god, it is very auspicious. So like that, see, there is a nice book by Dr. Niranjan Babu. He is the son of Dr. B.V. Raman, Niranjan Babu. Actually, he wrote several books. But if you buy any of his books, some of these basic things will be there. He culled out from various classics of Vastu, and he gave a picture of this is where the door can be, this is where the door cannot be, etc. So you can refer to those. But the thing is, I am not a Vastu expert. Let them refer to a Vastu expert, a real Vastu expert. Somebody who doesn't just fool around, like many people do these days. Both in astrology and Vastu, unfortunately, there is a wave in India recently in the last decade or two. There is a wave, there is a lot of faith, but it's mostly superstition. 99% of the astrologers don't know all the basics. They just look at Rashi, Navamsha, they give, and Jyothishya, they give predictions. And similarly, 90% of Vastu people, they just know a few handful of thumb rules, and they give. And they basically give advice based on it. Any other questions on Vastu or astrology?
So I was going to otherwise look into how the placement of kitchen and other rooms are inside the house and then.
Yeah. See, the thing is, in general they say for kitchen, the Agneya direction is good. The southeast is considered to be a good direction for cooking. Northeast for your prayer room, like that. There are some standard directions. Basically, there are different energies in different parts of the house. So they suggest different rooms in different corners. And some of this actually I know from my experience is genuine, because somebody actually had a kitchen in the southwest, and if you actually cook in the southwest direction of your home, and if you are consuming it every day, because southwest is the direction of Nirviti, the Damaness, and so cooking in that direction, some negative energy is always getting into your food and into your body later when you eat it. So your life will be miserable. I know people who are actually miserable with a vastu like that. And actually in the case of that person, the original house had kitchen in the southeast. The original plan of the house. It was a newly constructed house. But somehow he thought he knew vastu. He thought he read some book. He remembered wrong. And he said, no, I don't want my kitchen in southeast. Make it southwest. So he basically made the whole house mirror image. And then the original vastu was actually quite decent. And his dasha was so bad, astrologically in his horoscope, the dasha was so bad that his intelligence was corrupted. He gave a wrong advice to the constructor. They changed the plan, and he ended up with a really bad house. He suffered like anything in that house. Like that, for example, if they say, if the master bedroom where you and your wife sleep, if it is in the southeast direction, you are supposed to fight. This is basically the direction of fire. So there is a lot of fire, and it's supposed to result in a lot of quarrels. And I know people who moved into a house like that and started fighting a lot. And a few months after they moved out, they actually patched up and things improved. So I know not just one, but at least 6 or 7 examples like that I know. So some of these things do work. But the monkey wrench is, there are some astrology classics which say you have to figure out the direction where your kitchen should be, your drawing room should be, your library should be, your every room basically, your garage should be, based on your planetary placement in the horoscope and based on Ashtakavarga. God knows if that is genuine or made up by somebody. If that is the teaching of rishis or made up by somebody later on in this dark age, we don't know for sure. But there are some standard rules of Vastu which are horoscope independent. But then there are some rules which are horoscope dependent. So the thing is, it's a totally different subject. We will not venture into Vastu.
There's nothing that's corresponding to the nakshatra of the person or something like that.
Not really. But you can experiment. You can definitely experiment.
Because generally south is supposed to be suggested to be bad, but it's not true for everybody.
No, not true. The other thing is, see, let me put it this way. The south and west are considered bad directions because they have fierce energy associated with them, right? South, for example, is the direction of Mars. He is a fierce planet. He shows fighting. And similarly, west is associated with Saturn, who shows suffering, hard work, etc. But that's not all bad. No, Varuna. That's not all bad. Hard work can also show, Saturn can also show discipline, austerity, perseverance. So there are good qualities shown by Saturn. Similarly,
But at the same time, if the southwest is would be Nirviti, so that is bad.
right. Basically, it is Rahu's direction. But then Rahu may be good in somebody's case. Nirviti, she is a Damaness. She shows not being straightforward, cheating, underground kind of activities. She also shows cutting edge things, not doing what everybody does, but deviating, thinking beyond the box, finding out interesting things, and doing cutting edge things. So Nirviti is a direction for that also. We know that in Dashamsa, planets in Nirviti Samsa can either show underground work, mafia kind of work, or evil work. They also show huge research, breakthroughs kind of things. So the thing is, every planet, every god, every demon has a good and bad side to him or her or it. So the thing is, all these rules are based on the general accepted interpretation of everything. You say Mars, oh, he was fighting. I don't want to fight, so I don't want my door there. Who knows? This person may be a fighter from the chart. So maybe
So it happened finally, as you said, the other example,
Yeah.
Buddhi
Buddhi Karma Sarani, which means your intellect will direct you in the direction of your karma. But the thing is, when you are looking at the chart, when you are giving advice, you should do your best job. Whether they are destined to listen or not is up to them. But when we give an advice, whatever good advice comes to our mind, we should give it. But we should not expect the person to listen, because if they are not destined to benefit, they won't listen. Similarly, if they are destined to get a bad advice from us and suffer, our intellect will be in a wrong direction, will be corrupted for a while. We will actually end up giving a bad advice also. But we can't think about it. That's not in our control. All we can think about is assume that our intellect is thinking straight and give the best advice we can. Anyway, so what I suggest is these thumb rules, learn them from the Shastras regarding Vastu, but keep your mind open regarding the inherent nature of the person. Based on the inherent nature of the person, the rules may have to be judiciously modified. Just keep that in your mind. Maybe you have to combine astrology and Vastu. So on that thought, I will stop for today. We'll meet next week, and we'll start Parasara again. So we finished all the 12 chapters. Is that correct? Okay. So we'll start the next chapter on the results of house lords, various house lords being placed in various houses. Lagna lord in first house, second house, third house, second lord in first house, second house, third house, and so on. We'll look at that from the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.